What's up everybody, my name's Trey and welcome back to another video. And I know you've already seen the title of the video, so you should know kind of what to expect. But let me, set the framework. So let's say, for instance, I had all this money sitting around, right? I think it's like 10 grand, right? And I was brand new to crypto. I definitely wouldn't use all this money for crypto. Now, I might use $1,000. And you say, what? You got 10 grand? Why would you only put 1,000? Look, investing is risky, boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen. So we want to start off with an amount that we're okay with losing. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because the whole reason you're investing is to make money and not lose it, but always want to start with money you're okay losing. So if you have $10,000 and you're like, man, I really want to get invested in crypto. I have so many ideas of where I'm going to put my money and how I'm going to invest it and grow it, and liquidity pools and meme coins and RWAs and Bitcoin and leverage trading. There's just so many ways that you can get started, and so many ways you can get absolutely wrecked when it comes to the crypto market. So before we kind of dive into this video, if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to get notified every time I post a video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Which portfolio would you pick? Because in this video, we'll actually be going over 3 of them. We'll be going over a conservative crypto portfolio, a more moderate crypto portfolio, and then an absolutely Degen, just like wall liquor, I am ready for whatever type of portfolio. So leave a comment in the comment section down below which one kind of fits with you and your lifestyle, because investing can be tough, especially if you're one of those people that likes to look over their money day in and day out. So very first one we're going to go over is, if you are somebody brand new to crypto, you've never invested in crypto before, you don't even know what crypto is, what I'm going to need you to do is go down to the description of this video and click on the link that says Coinbase. It's an affiliate link to help you sign up. You're going to get some Bitcoin if you go sign up with Coinbase, invest some money, and that's going to start you off on your journey. Because the number one thing that you need when it comes to investing in crypto is a way to actually buy your crypto that's legitimate. Now, there's a ton of ways you can actually do that. You can do them on different dexes, different exchanges. I personally like to keep it as simple as humanly possible. I use Coinbase and I use crypto.com. I also will dabble a little bit on Robinhood depending on what they have listed on their platform. But really outside of that, I don't go into dexes too often to look at like super new or super small meme coins or celebrity coins. The Hawk Tuah coin, the Kanye West meme coin, like, trust me. Coinbase.com, make an account, use my affiliate link, make sure you get some money, because Bitcoin is nice, especially when you can get it for free. And all of the actual portfolios that I'm going to be showing you today, you can do these directly on Coinbase. You don't have to go into any dexes. You don't have to go into any bridges. I'm going to make this as simple as humanly possible so that if you are somebody that is ready to get involved and invest into crypto, this is going to be your onboarding ramp. I'm going to make this super simple for you. So the very first portfolio that we want to go over is just a very, very conservative portfolio. Most times when people come into the crypto space, they have no prior exposure to crypto. They might have some investments outside, Roth IRAs, 401ks, maybe they have some individual stocks. Maybe they're even trading a little bit into the market when it comes to options or future trading. Crypto is a completely different animal, in my opinion. You can lose your money overnight, and you can also 100x it overnight. Is that realistic? Not in my opinion, but I've seen it happen more than once, actually. Just never to me, unfortunately. So for our conservative portfolio, number 1 asset or crypto that we are going to be invested in is going to be Bitcoin. We're going to be putting 70% of our portfolio into Bitcoin. So in my example, you have $10,000 that you're ready to invest. Whoa. Let's start out with 1,000. Let's get your feet wet and make sure you even like the crypto space, because you might get in here and be like, this is not for me. Like, get me out of here ASAP. So you will take $1,000. You'll take 70% of it, $700 if you were unaware, and you're going to put that into Bitcoin. You might say, well, why Bitcoin? Look, the market, the overall crypto market follows Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going up, if Bitcoin is in a bull market, is in a bull flag, if it's continued to hitting all-time highs, the rest of the market is going to follow, and vice versa. If Bitcoin is going down, if Bitcoin's dropping, everything else in the market is going to bleed heavily. So we might as get invested into the one currency that it seems like countries all around the world are now saying that they're going to have a digital reserve currency, and Bitcoin is now that option. So we are basically doing this because I wholeheartedly believe that Bitcoin is going to be a great store of value, very similar to gold or a savings account. Now, I don't think Bitcoin is going to turn into the world's currency. I don't think we're all going to ditch fiat and just be sending Bitcoin to each other. But I do feel that Bitcoin is going to be the best way to save your money and not get absolutely wrecked by inflation. So 70% is going to go into Bitcoin in our conservative portfolio. Next, we have ETH. And I know, as soon as I said ETH, some of y'all started rolling your eyes. ETH hasn't moved in years. And I get that. But everything's built on Ethereum. All the smart contracts, real, legit companies are being built on Ethereum. Companies are moving their assets onto the Ethereum network. Like, ETH will never be looked at like Bitcoin in terms of actual currency or store of value. But ETH is something that you can look at in terms of the building blocks for the rest of the blockchain or the rest of kind of the crypto ecosystem as a whole. ETH is going to be the place where really, really smart people, much smarter than you and I, are going to come, and they're going to build some amazing things on this platform because of the proof of stake, and also because it's an extremely secure network. And if you're building something that has to do with personal data, large sums of money, you want to make sure it's secure. So we're going to put $100 in ETH. Next up, we have Solana at also 10%, which is also another $100. Now, why I put Sol here? Solana seems to be the main, I guess, ecosystem when it comes to just absolute degeneracy. Now, the cool thing is you don't necessarily have to be involved in the degeneracy to catch some of the upside of said degeneracy. You might not be in there trading meme coins. You might not be, sending money from one exchange to another to capitalize on a 10% little exchange rate or anything of that nature. But the fact that you own Solana and other people are doing that means the more people that are using Solana, the higher the price is going to go. And just you having some money into that asset is definitely good, even if you're not doing all the other risky ventures that everybody else is doing. And then to kind of round out this conservative portfolio, we have another 10% in stable coins. And yes, I know stable coins are not going to go up in value. However, my thought process when it comes to building this portfolio is staking your stable coins on whatever platform you decide to go with. Like I said, if you're going with Coinbase, link is in the description down below. Make sure you get signed up, get some of that free Bitcoin, and you can actually stake your stable coins on Coinbase for 4 to 6%, which isn't a huge amount of money, but in the grand scheme of things, to just put some of this crypto money over here and it's getting 6% a year, I think that is pretty good, especially if you're brand new to crypto on a very, very conservative portfolio. Now, let's move on to something I would like to say is a little bit more exciting, in my opinion. This is kind of where you get to the point where you are really looking at other coins, other ecosystems outside of really just Bitcoin and, your stable coins, essentially. So this is the moderate portfolio. So to start it off, we have Bitcoin. Like I said, store of value, you're going to see Bitcoin in all three areas because it's the Mac Daddy. You're going to need it in your portfolio. So 60% is going to go to Bitcoin. So remember, $600 you're putting directly to Bitcoin. Next up, we have ETH. just going to reiterate, everything is built on ETH when it comes to this crypto sphere, when it comes to Web3, when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to all types of stuff. So you want some ETH in your portfolio. Now, outside of ETH, what I would do is I would take about 20%, which is $200, and I would choose 4 to 5 other altcoins that you like and you might have a little bit of conviction in. Now, I will tell you 4 off the top of my head that I really like, but I would highly recommend you doing a little bit of your own research and kind of going in there and just seeing what other protocols, tokens, coins that you really like that you want to actually put your money into. But one, and we talked about it earlier, would be Solana. Solana is a major player when it comes to meme coins and just absolutely degenerate crypto space. So you want to have a little bit of your portfolio. I am a huge believer in XRP, kind of transitioning into the Swift banking system and kind of picking up some of the slack that our fiat currency has when it just comes to moving money. So I think XRP could be a really good investment. I'm a huge believer in Avalanche or AVAX just because what are they building on the actual Avalanche network, I think is groundbreaking, and I think they have a lot of upside when it comes to the actual token itself. And then kind of to round out my top altcoin holdings when it comes to this moderate portfolio, the 4th one is going to be Chainlink. Chainlink, I think, is well and above just like the gold standard when it comes to altcoins actually having utility. Now, the kind of problem with that is actually having utility doesn't necessarily pump your price, so it doesn't necessarily have a lot of narrative behind it, but Chainlink will be a major contributor when it comes to Web3 and just the transition between the current system that we have into more of a digital cryptocurrency kind of experience. And then I would have another 10% of your portfolio or $100 in stable coins, again, staking those on reputable sites, crypto.com, Coinbase, Robinhood, etc., just to kind of round out the portfolio. So just to kind of go over it, Bitcoin, 60% of your portfolio, ETH is 10%, and then you have top altcoins, which you can put about 20% of your portfolio into, like I said, 4 or 5, just depending on the ones that you actually like and you have some real conviction into, and then 10% in actual stable coins. That's going to be a very good portfolio for somebody who has a moderate amount of risk. You're relatively new to crypto and you're not somebody who wants to spend hours upon hours doing research on different coins and protocols and things of that nature. Now, you might have to go visit a website. You might have to read a white paper. Normal things, right? But now, the part that you've all been waiting for. Degen. Yes, the most aggressive portfolio that I would really recommend. Now, obviously, you can go a lot more Degen than this, or you can just put 100% meme coins, but when does this actually be practical? So first thing we're going to do is 20% in Bitcoin, $200 in Bitcoin. Why? Store of value. Worst case scenario, you have a little bit set aside. If you blow all your money on this other Degen type work that you're doing, at least you know you have a little bit of savings in Bitcoin that you can use for a rainy day. Next up, we're going to do 30% in mid-cap altcoins. What that means is you're going to go outside your top 15 to 20 coins, and you are going to also do a little bit of research and find some coins that you think might be undervalued who really copy some of the framework of the major top altcoin holdings. Solana, Ethereum, Binance, XRP, Chainlink. There's a lot of smaller protocols that essentially just copy the protocol, changed up the name, put some hype around it, bought some Twitter followers, and now their token price is absolutely pumping. So I would put about 30% into a handful of those. Like I said, you are absolutely Degen now. You probably don't need me for this portfolio. If you waited this far to get into a Degen portfolio, you've been in the space for a while. I'm sure you have a little bit of an understanding of what you're trying to do. But 30% into mid-cap altcoins. Now, after that, we're going to do 30% in small cap absolute gems. And these are going to be all around narrative basis. So if the narrative in crypto is all about AI or RWAs or layer 2s, you are basically going to be chasing pumps when it comes to narratives. That's why I'm saying only 30% of your portfolio should be into chasing pumps, because it is a very dangerous game, especially if you're somebody that hasn't necessarily been into the crypto space, because one tweet can send a coin up 300%. But if you get into it a little bit late, promise you just lost all of your holdings. So you just want to be careful about that specifically. Now, after small caps, you're going to do 10% in meme coins. And I'm talking about absolutely degenerate plays. If you want to get into some Pepe, Trump coin, if you want to go back into Dogecoin, SHIB, whatever you want to do, have some fun with it. And make sure you're staying up to date on Twitter, on Snapchat. You're following the right people on Instagram, because there are a lot of accounts that pump coins. You have to really do some due diligence so you're not getting reg pulled. You have to make sure that you're getting in and out quickly. Like I said, that's not necessarily a space that I stay in too terribly much, because it requires a lot of time and effort. And to be completely honest, my brain just cannot handle investing $100 into a meme coin and then worrying the rest of the day if the creator of said meme coin is going to take all of my money, because that's how the game is played. So just throwing that out there. Then what you're going to do with your last 10% of your investment when it comes to this Degen portfolio is invest it in DeFi, yielding, or yield farming, because it's one of the, in my opinion, lower risk ways to get into some higher risk plays. I'll make an entirely separate video on kind of what yield farming is and what DeFi is as a whole. But essentially what you're doing is you're providing liquidity for traders, and because you're putting up some of your money and allowing that to be used by the protocol, you're going to get a return back. So on one of the pools that I have 260% APY, which it does fluctuate. There are points in times in which I fall out of range. I'll make a completely separate video just on yield farming and things of that nature, that you are going to have to really understand how they work, because it's not just a plug and play type of scenario. But it's definitely something that if you are a Degen, you might want to look into, because in my opinion, it's way better than chasing pumps or trying to follow different meme coins and things. If you can put your money into a yield farm what's going to be new and upcoming projects by getting airdropped free meme coins and NFTs, that's a great way to minimize your risk, because you're not buying said meme coins. You're basically putting up your money to a protocol who's rewarding you in the form of APY, interest, meme coins, other special gifts, and things of that nature. So you just want to make sure that if you have not looked into yield farming at all, highly recommend it. Like I said, I'll have a separate video to kind of breaking that down in full. But that's really how it breaks down. You have, like I said, 3 different portfolios: conservative, moderate, and Degen. Obviously, it's really going to depend on your risk tolerance. You really want to make sure that you're only investing money that you are okay with losing. That's why in my specific scenario, if you have $10,000 ready, sitting on the sideline, ready to invest, I would highly recommend taking about $1,000 and just getting your feet wet, making sure that you understand what links to click on, what links to not click on, what meme coins are real, which ones are definitely going to get reg pulled. There is a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to the crypto industry, but I really hope this video helped you out and just kind of showed you that yes, crypto is new, it's confusing, but it doesn't have to be. There is a learning curve to anything that's new, but like I said, highly recommend going to the link down there in the description. Go get on Coinbase, get you some free Bitcoin, and then try out some of these portfolios. They also have some that they recommend on Coinbase, and I'm sure there are other creators out there that are making portfolios that you can kind of look at and, you know, test out to see which works best for you. So really hope that helped you out a lot. My name's Trey. Welcome to my channel. If you are somebody that's new, make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to be notified every time I post a video, and leave a comment in the comment section down below of which portfolio do you think fits you the most. I personally am a mixture of moderate and Degen, because I have a lot of yield farming portfolios. I have a portfolio and you're farming in that portfolio. And then I am also a huge fan on some of the smaller mid cap, small cap. And then I do have a lot actually in Bitcoin because I'm trying to store that value, baby, because the American dollar is going. Okay, I don't know if you look at your buying power over the last 10 years, $100 don't buy the same thing that it used to. Okay, I'm just saying. But just like that, I will see you in the next one. Peace.